Okay, we're on to part 2. Doomsday's info, the being that killed Superman. Now I'm gonna tell you this right now, I found little on Doomsday because he's not as prominent as Lobo was. Lobo had his own series, so there's obviously a lot more going for him than Doomsday, who's just an occasional villain. But anyway, I was able to find some very interesting things. Let's get into it. But again, like I said, we are not including the New 52 Doomsday, despite him being said to be stronger than the original Doomsday who killed Superman. We aren't including him because he's very inconsistent and most of his abilities did not show up in Rebirth. But we will be counting the Rebirth version. But first up with Doomsday, let's go over what everyone knows about him. His immense strength. Doomsday is iconic for killing or putting him into a sleeping coma, Superman. This takes a lot of force to be able to even damage Superman, as we all know. And as over the years, Superman has gotten stronger, and Doomsday has done the same. Doomsday in Hunter Prey was able to wound and nearly kill Darkseid. Now, I've seen many people say this is an avatar of Darkseid, I've seen many people say this is the actual Darkseid. But, just for ideas, let's go with it is the real Darkseid. Let's just say that to make this feat impressive so that we get the actual facts. And if it's not, oh well. This is the best way I could just figure it out. Doomsday has even fought Gogs for centuries. Now, for those who don't know what Gogs are, from what I could find out about them, they have strength similar to that of Kryptonians. So, Doomsday pretty much fought Kryptonians for centuries. Or a century. That is also very impressive considering Superman's power. And this Doomsday actually had some intelligence. He was no genius, but he had some basic emotions kind of things. However, it seems that this Doomsday was weaker than normal because it took him decades to claw through a mile of granite. That is pitiful for Doomsday, so I'm assuming this version was actually weaker than most others because of his intelligence. Now let's go over speed. Doomsday is not known for having immense speed, but he was able to move faster than Guy Gardner as a Green Lantern was able to see. And at the time of his first appearance, he was actually faster than the Flash. Now, that may sound very impressive, but at the time, the Flash wasn't all that fast as he is now. As he is now, most of DC can be faster than what the Flash used to be. But he was able to avoid hits from people like Superman and this other lady who can move at light speed. Now, are they going light speed in this fight? No. Clearly not. But Doomsday was able to dodge their attacks, which should sound impressive, and even hit them, and even counter them faster than they could realize. So Doomsday himself has very high speed feats, and his ability to jump great distances very quickly as well. Doomsday is also an exceptional fighter thanks to his brute strength and high durability. In a fight with Wonder Woman and Plastic Man, Doomsday was able to bash around Wonder Woman and rip apart Plastic Man. He was able to burrow into the ground and burst through to catch the Flash by surprise. As well as defeat Martian Manhunter, he's even gained the ability to hit Martian Manhunter even though he was intangible. He couldn't kill him because of Martian Manhunter's his regeneration, but he learned to breathe fire to take advantage of Martian Manhunter's fear of fire. Even though it wasn't that hot, as Superman was not affected by it at all. Doomsday, now this is an odd little feat. When he fought Katana and some others, Katana's sword has the ability to steal one's soul. Now then, when she tried to use this on Doomsday, it didn't work. That means one of two things. One, Doomsday has no soul, or two, he is way too powerful for the sword to work, which is very impressive because the sword worked on a villain that Shazam wasn't even able to harm. So, if Doomsday is that powerful in regards for that, that is highly, highly impressive. But if it's just the fact that he doesn't have a soul, that's a bit symbolic that destruction and chaos and hate doesn't have a soul to feel. That could be what it's implying. But anyway, now on to the biggest thing about Doomsday that everyone knows about him, that's sort of like a cheating device, is his adaptability. Everyone knows that once Doomsday dies, he comes back immune to whatever killed him in the first place. Well, this is kind of true and kind of not. Sometimes he does come back fully immune, other times he just comes back highly resistant. As he was beaten to death surely even before he fought Superman by the creatures of Krypton, he was still able to be hurt by Superman, and even in Rebirth after getting punched by him, he was able to at least draw blood still. So, it's not that he's fully immune to punching, it's just he's super highly resistant to it. Plus, Doomsday has also gotten the ability over the years to adapt during combat, not just after death. Like in the fight with Superman and Hunter Prey, when Superman was using a mother box to use ultrasonic attacks against Doomsday, because he had never dealt with an attack like that, Doomsday's spikes grew over his ears, that he doesn't have anyway, like the holes where he hears stuff. They grew over that so he was immune to it. So he was adapting during the fight as it went on. Everything Superman did, it didn't work at all. Doomsday also possesses poisonous spikes that can extend, and now on to his durability. As I mentioned before, he fought a Sentry against Gogs, who I believe are documented to be as powerful as a Kryptonian. I could be very wrong, but anyway, let's just go with that. That requires a massive amount of durability to do that. Other famous durability feats is when he survived a blast in Hunter Prey equal to 1 million nukes. But that's nothing compared to the biggest blast he's taken in his life, the Omega Beams. At full force, mind you. Now, the Omega Beams are extremely powerful in the DC Universe, as they are able to go through time, fetch things from other dimensions, and even erase things completely. It's kind of like a cheat thing for Darkseid. But Doomsday tanked them without a scratch, and then, as I told you earlier, he defeated Darkseid while laughing at him. This is incredibly overpowered for Doomsday's durability levels. Pretty much means that energy blasts do little to Doomsday. Hate it when notifications pop up in the middle of a video. But I'm way too in this, so I'm not going to edit that out. Sorry. But since he's able to do this, most energy blasts and explosions do nothing to Doomsday. It's either brute force, or you have to trap him or get him away from the battlefield. That's it. That's the only way to really fight Doomsday. Even then, you're at a huge disadvantage, as Superman himself even states that if he just fought Doomsday one-on-one, plain-out fight, he would die. Doomsday would mop the floor with him. As we saw this in Rebirth, every time Superman tried to fight Doomsday, Doomsday kept getting an upper hand somehow. Even when they were weakening Doomsday, Doomsday kept getting an upper hand. Not to mention, he did something way impressive. Now, I'm sure that most of you know Wonder Woman's sword, that can cut atoms and is also magically enchanted, as it can cut through almost anything. Well, she tried to swing it at Doomsday in Rebirth, and you know what he did? He grabbed it mid-swing, knocked her away, looked at it, and threw it at Superman. That is how tough Doomsday is. He was able to not only stop the sword, but to grab it with no injury. However, do not consider Doomsday as unbeatable, as when he attacked Brainiac, Brainiac actually possessed Doomsday and took full control of his body. This is how Doomsday was able to fight Wonder Woman before in Pre-52, defeat her, Martian Manhunter, The Flash, Plastic Man, and others all on the same night. That's because Doomsday wasn't just fighting with brute force. He was fighting with Brainiac's intelligent mind as well. So, mental attacks sometimes don't work. However, that's just telepathy. Possession, on the other hand, seems to work wonders on Doomsday. Whew. Sorry, running low on breath there. But he has been possessed several times, and it worked on him. He's been possessed by Deadman, as you see on page right here, Brainiac, and others as well. This is how a lot of people are able to overcome him and get him to fight for somebody else. However, Doomsday does adapt, and as Brainiac was possessing him, he felt Doomsday was trying to fight back. Doomsday couldn't get out of there, he couldn't overcome it, but he was trying to fight back. But overtaking his mind sometimes works, sometimes he has a mental block, sometimes he doesn't. It's an inconsistency with Doomsday. Sometimes people are able to take over his mind and make him fight for them. Other times, he's able to beat them out like he did with Martian Manhunter. But he wasn't able to fully fend him off, as he told Martian Manhunter to get out of my head, as he knew he was already in there. Doomsday is also able to heal from most wounds nearly instantly. As the time went in Hunter Prey again, which is arguably the strongest version he's ever been, he got like a lightsaber kind of sword sliced through his body, and as you see there, it heals nearly instantly. But back to the possession and mind control. One woman who was fighting with Booster Gold put a helmet on Doomsday that gave her control, similar to Injustice, but then she made Doomsday use his own spikes to either kill or extremely injure Doomsday by making him do this to himself. So taking possession of Doomsday can override his stuff and make him either harm himself. And in the Death of Superman story arc, in Superman's own words, Doomsday, his strength and rage is way past Lobo's. So any strength that Lobo has, we have to make Doomsday stronger. That's just logic there. That seem pretty odd? I think it does. Let's continue. Another thing is, Doomsday was able to fight and kill a being made of pure energy, something that should normally be intangible, as well as he's also hit Martian Manhunter when he was intangible, meaning that he's able to hit other beings who are intangible. So intangibility don't mean shit to the Doomsday. You get it?